Yo! Welcome back to another video, my friends. My name is Mikołaj Maria Dawidowski and I'm here with another video. Today's topic, the path of love. Woo. Oh, first of all, I'm gonna talk about the path of power. Because that is the path that I took. And that was the path that was close to me and the path that I followed for many years. All the way to the very last step, let's just call it, where you're at the very top of the crown chakra as a consciousness and you just have to let go of the world. And once you do, you leave, whatever that means. Just let go completely and embrace God wholeheartedly and fully. I wrote about the path of power many times. I wrote about power and the expression of power, and for many years I worked and forced my way through, because that's the path of power. You force your way through, you fight, you have to push it, because that's what the power is. And basically, you're exerting a certain force. And I thought I had no love whatsoever. And I didn't see love. I didn't really know what love was. And then I came to the crown chakra. And on the crown chakra, when I had to let go of the world, I realized that actually I love the world. And I love all the people that are in the world. I didn't see how much I loved everything and everyone until I had to let go of it. And so, in the end, I decided I do not wish to live through the path of power. Whatever that means. I'm just a human with my own limited perceptions. And what happened was, when I was just about to leave, I said, no, I do not wish to follow through and live through the path of power. Instead, I'd like to experience and explore love. And God very happily said to me, okay, you're gonna do that. And I dropped from the crown, from the very top of the crown, all the way back down to the base chakra as a consciousness, where I started to see fear everywhere, all again, and I had to work through levels of fear and addiction and self-judgment and then connection, and currently I'm working through the levels of truth. So in around that level. Truth, a little bit on the third eye, the delusions and illusions. But slowly making my way through. But having said that, let's get back to the path of love and what it is. Because within the path of power, or there are many different paths you can take, of course. I'm just using it as an example because I was a solo practitioner for many years, and now as I'm exploring the path of love, it seems a little bit different. Within the path of power that I was following, it was just me and God, and it was just us playing games, and that was it, because I had the realization that I am God and that He is me and we're one, and you know, the whole shebang of unity. And so it was me and the world and the rest of creation, let's just call it. And that was it for me. And I learned all of that. I went all the way up to the top with God. And He showed me the way. He was like a best friend. And when I started to explore the path of love, it was a little bit different. It is a little bit different. It's like you go through the first three chakras with God, and then in the fourth one is always the fourth one. Is unity. Is very weird, and mind likes to turn off itself because you're just unfolding yourself within infinity. Everything is perfect, and you've nothing to do, but everything is always done, and blah 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 blah. And at that point, I met a very significant person in my life right now. And we had the experience of what I call divine unity. I don't fully understand what it is. I'm using it because that's what I use during a peak consciousness state. Where I was fully realized as God, and I saw the divine form within her, and I still see it to this day within her. And she saw the divine form within me, the God that I am and the God that she is. Well, I am. But very interestingly, at this point, from what I can see on the path of love, once I had the realization, just the throat level, I am God, I felt like God stopped existing for me in a way that it's a very interesting sensation that happens. Is in one way you're really happy because you realize you are God, which is wow, just it's like every time you get there, it's whoa, I'm God, But at the same time, a feeling comes with it like you've lost your best friend because you no longer have God with you or above you. Let's just say that it's like your best friend who is telling you, it's like focus on this, no this, because you yourself are God now, and therefore you know that you know, and you know everything, and therefore you don't need God to tell you what to do. But the very interesting dynamic is within this divine union that we're both working together as one. And previously, I was exploring the self through the eyes of just one, and I was able to do all the practices and everything on my own. And this time around, let's just call it, I've reached a certain point, here exactly, even here, like the just where the higher and the lower heart chakra, what I call them, meet. You have your human chakra and your divine heart chakra. Just at that point, I started to develop myself with my very, very, very significant other. I'm still looking for the right name for her, to call her, because it's like girlfriend or something like that. It completely doesn't cut it for me. And we decided that we are going to work together through this until we reach ascension, right? Ascended master state, however you want to call it. You go into the heavens, let's just say. And so there's a very interesting dynamic that I've noticed where I know the practices, and I do the practices that I know I need to do. But I also notice that unless we do those practices together, they don't work anymore, which is very fascinating. So it's like there are certain steps within the human body. I like to call them like bricks. I use the analogy of bricks. You build up like stairs upwards as you climb the consciousness, and now it's more like I have one step, then she has one step, then I have one step, then she has one step, and we masculine, feminine, let's just call it. And we're climbing the ladder together, and unless we do our practices together, unless we develop ourselves together as one, I've noticed that there is no progression. No matter, like I do my practices for a few hours, and yes, the body becomes stronger, yes, the body becomes healthier, but I don't actually see any changes within the consciousness. I don't see any changes in a, let's just call it, progression way or the path that you're walking. There is no progression per se. It's just states of consciousness that you unravel yourself within, which is fascinating. But sometimes when we're just chatting, sharing what is within us, what we're going through, that in itself can boost or change or fundamentally shift so many things that hours of work don't cut it. Like the hours of meditation and energy work and prayer, it does nothing in comparison to the huge shifts that happen by just the two of us talking. And as far as I can say, I'm just sharing the experience. Just remember that. On the path of love, it's like the two of you work as one, and as you work as one, you first have to reach a level of the heart. That's when the significant other appears, roughly in around that time, and you start to build that connection from there. So you first have to master duality, and you work as one, and there's no separation. And you, just the way you'd have your enlightenment experience upwards, where you realize that you're God and God is you, and that the itness, you're the itness and the itness is you, however you want to call it. You start having it this way instead, and you start having literally like a different level of enlightenment experience, where you're talking and all of a sudden you realize, oh, this is me, she is me, and I am her. And oh, it's fascinating, and like for me to explore this and to even talk about this, because there are so many unknowns, and yet my mind just keeps racing, because I love to know things and I love to figure out things. But just like I did it with God, where I had to develop infinite trust, infinite faith, I had to go through all the steps in God, I can see the same path of progression happening this way now. So me and her, and I'm developing the infinite love and infinite trust and infinite faith, and so on and so on and so forth within her, which is very beautiful. So it's now, it's like, I know that it's good, of course, but even though I'm always focused upon God, the work shifted to be more this way up rather than this way up, if that makes sense in any way, shape, or form. But anyway, that's just my rant about the path of love. There are many, many interesting and fascinating things to be explored, that's for sure, my friends. And there are many, many different ways and paths in which you can reach the goals that you are seeking. For me, it's reaching the state of Ascended Master with my significant other. I've fully devoted myself to walking the path with her all the way there, put it this way. Blessings be upon you. Have an absolutely amazing and wonderful day, and I shall see you when I see you. Consider liking the video, leave a comment maybe. Tell me what you think. Does the power path or the love path make any sense to you? Maybe you know some interesting books about it. I just use the term divine union because in the God State that's exactly what it was, and I also later read about it within alchemy, where two become one, and it's very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. I'm definitely gonna look more into it. Bye.